Hey everyone, what is going on? It's Wilson, and I wanted to show you a quick trade that I made on SDRL that gave me a little bit more than $2,000 off one simple trade in a very small time frame. And I'll show you exactly how I did it. So SDRL was a stock that was being called out in a lot of different chat rooms. It had a lot of volatility. The float isn't too high, and people were seeing that it was going up. So I wanted to jump on this as well, and I made a couple bets that pretty much resulted in a good jump for me. So basically, at here, this is what I noticed. I noticed that it was going upwards on this day, and I knew it was going to top out, then it's going to do a massive drop, which is what you see right here. Uh, for me, I got in a little bit late. Of course, ideally, I wanted to get in around here, which is around the 40 cent range. That would have been perfect, right? But I was looking at it, I added to my watch list, and I saw that when I started watching it, it was about right here. It was about 41, 42 cent, and it kept going up and down. So I thought it wasn't really going to jump. But where I really made my money was going in from here, which I got in at roughly 47, high 47-ish cents till around 48, and then I exited right here exactly at 55. So the reason why I chose to get in right there is because one of the indicators that I look for when I'm looking for an entry point at a stock, especially that's moving, is when I see three consecutive candlesticks that are going up. Usually I try to get in as soon as the third one forms. But what happened was that I saw this red one right here, and I saw that it was being sold. But so this is pretty much the pullback. So that's what made me a little bit more hesitant. I was going to make my order around this third one right here, this third candlestick. So I waited, and then I saw the pullback, a slight pullback, and that made me hesitate. But the pullback didn't last too long, and then it started going back up again. So as soon as I saw that it was going to go back up again, and it passed this old third and fourth green candlestick, I knew that this was going to be a good entry. Now I knew that this wasn't going to spike all the way up to 70 cent all the way up here, but I knew that I could have did a quick squeeze and probably make 5 cent profit. Um, so I had to get in a very big position, because if I had a small position, then 5 cents would probably only be $5, and it wouldn't be enough to pay for my E-Trade commissions. So as soon as I saw the pullback and I saw that this next one was coming up, I bought in right here, exactly right here at around 48 cents, and I let it go. And I know that the third one is going, because if you look at the patterns, that day has been pretty good with the greens. So it's been going up, and you see it's been consecutive green, consecutive green. That's why it's very important that you try to analyze and find a trend at any stock that you're trading at before you get in. Like if I got in here too early, I probably wouldn't have seen that trend. But if you look consistently, you see that there are three greens at least for every single red, right? So as soon as I got in, I waited second, third green, and right here I was watching it closely. And as soon as it hit around 55, I didn't even top out yet. But what I did was I exited, and that was perfect because the next pullback was coming back down, and then the rest of the day was just kind of like the same alongside weights. So over here, just between this small little gain. It was around 7 cents, a little bit more than 7 cents. I set my stop loss actually when I entered the trade at 2 cents below. So it was around right here, but I never had to trigger that stop loss because it kept going up. So luckily I got in at 30,000 position, so 30,000 shares, and I was able to make a good 2,100 off just one trade, and it happened so quickly that I mean it was ridiculous. But this is just an example of what I look for when I'm making a trade. I always look for that three green before I know it's a go, and it has to be upward trend, right? And but the main thing that made me make this decision is because I've been seeing a lot of consecutive greens for today, and it's been going upwards for every red. So you always want to look at the charts, and you always want to find a good trend. And of course, there was a lot of strong volume, especially when we got to right here when I got in. The volume was going up, and it was all green. So this was a pretty good trade. And the good thing about this is that even after I sold, so looking down towards the other days, I decided to get in this stock again for the future day, and I was able to get in right here and exit right here. So I made another profit doing that. But just saying that I noticed that if you look closely at this stock, this is a stock that's being talked about in a lot of day trading, penny stocking chat rooms. If you really look closely at the trend, every aftermarket it goes down. I mean, like right before it closes, it starts to go down, and then the next one, there's always a spike in the beginning first couple hours. Then it's always pretty much flat. Then it goes down again. You see right here before it enters the post market. Then afterwards, it probably spike up again. So if you look back at another day, it's the same thing, right? It reaches high in the early of the days, and then it starts to go down. Then right here is the volume kicks in the first couple hours. So one thing I just really want you guys to take a note of is make sure you look at the overall trend of how the lines are doing, how the technical analyst is doing, and at the same time, make sure you look for patterns like these and trends where they go down and they come back up, and you want to see where the majority of the volume is. So if you see on the bottom, the majority of the volume is always in the first couple hours, then it's always just flat for like before the market closes, and it drops, but the next day it goes back up. So this was a pretty good trade for 2 days in a row. I profited really well. This doesn't happen all the time, of course. That's why I managed my risk, and as I mentioned, I had my stop losses. But it was a strong couple thousand profit, and hopefully this gives you guys some insights and information on how you can analyze trades and decide when to get in, what's the buy point, and stuff like that. If you like what you're watching, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up.